Well, I couldn't do Nintendogs, so I'm doing Barney Fife. Bernard Barney Fife. This is the one we saw. He is the way we see a PDA-O-E, and then commandment and E-O-abate, abatory, and acta clock. Estamindiconic hemiconic collective oaked, and then lickle dickle 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 lickle 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 dickle 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 dickle. And then you see a weird P that does a spiral, then an O. I guess it's an O. He was the only one we knew that saw a way. And he goes up to see the way, and he knows some ways we see, and he installed an institute for us called Holonimus. And this is an institute we still see. He says there is two. And I said, what do you see it? I said, there's a problem with it here. We saw the ones we see. He doesn't see. There are many people who see the way, and he is the one that we see when we see a way for the PD. I know you know this way he sees. He was wondering, we were worried about these ways he sees, and we said, we'll see it in time, and he does see these ways. And we went up, and we saw these ways he sees, and he sees a way, and he says, this is the way we see it. We were worried for a long time about many ways he saw. And we said, is he men? And they said, no, he is not men, but he is a PD. They said, what way is he that we see him this way with him? The one we see is Ben Kimura. And he says, well, he sees the way we saw, and then he sees the way he sees, and he does know these ways. And he says, we must see these ways because this is the way they saw here. And he says, okay, I understand this way here. And he sees it, and this is the way here. And he says, yes, this is the same way here. And we have to see this one. He says, yes, this is it. This is exactly how we have to see it. There's a long story about how we are in a time rip and how this whole thing works out. And they said it's nonsensical, but this is it. And they said we are in a time machine in some way when we go into the it. And they said the Downs way. And he says, yes, but I don't like that way to see it. This is the it. And he says, okay, I got it. That's the way we see. And he says, okay, I understood. He says, when we go into it, we see a way. And this is the way we see. It is in a time rip, in a time loop. And the earth is in it inside of a shell or a down arc. And we see this way. And this is the one we saw. But this is not the one we are on. They figured out a way to codassign it so there's two in time next to each other. And this is the way we saw. When we see this way, we see it. I was worried for a very long time. These ways, I don't know them. And he says they're just PD ways, and some of these are simpler than the ways we see now. And this is a dumb way even, and we don't use this way anymore. He says, shouldn't we be using the correct way now? He says, no, because this is the time. We are in timeline to it. And we have to see these ways. He goes, okay, I got it. So that's why it all is so stupid. He says, yes, you could be the smartest sheriff in the world and have this all figured out in Maniket, but you will never be able to act on it unless you follow these diagrams in it. He was quite upset this one time. He said, I can't bust this guy. He's doing the thing, and I can't see him my way. And he said, I'll figure out a way to get him. It'll just take time. And they knew this way, and he saw this way before. And they said, they're never going to get out of what we see. He saw a way a long time ago, and he says, we must not see these ways until the end of time's days ways. We see it. He says, otherwise we will not have any way we saw. And he says, we must follow these to the exacting coordinate. He says, or we are out. You must understand, we have done it, and we are the ones who are the bad way to it, and we aren't. We're good way. We went over these things again and again, and we always make sure the sheriffs in the department have to be the utmost trustworthy and smartest to ever see these ways. And there are a few that have fallen, and every time we follow them very carefully, and two have escaped, and we know it, and they are not a good way, and they see it, and we have a problem, and this is it. I hope you understand, we are not it, and they are who. They are a who way it, and we don't know how they got this far to it. And once they saw him, and he saw them, and they saw this way, and we see this way, we are in trouble to it now. He said, this seems very in line with the way it would have been in some ways we see it. I am not overly concerned because perhaps this is all injustice by us. But there's a like justice, but it's like a complete circle. So many times have we saw these ways that aren't any good, and they, in the end, forlunk themselves in a way we can't predict. And this is how we get the jump on someone we couldn't see before, and this is something we know quite well to it. And they are dumb, and we see this way, and we know it, and they just lead us right to the cheese, and they know exactly what this is unknown about, and they do it. And I know this way, and I see it sometimes, and I go, they could not have been stupider. And then I go, you know what? They always were it. Stupid. Blah, blah, blah. This is in... No. I don't see this anywhere. Okay. This is timeline. I'm not going to read it. Oh, man. Here we go. The end of the 25. 26 opens with a bang. 27 is on Fire Day. They must not kill any more on Fire Day. There won't be any more Fire Days. The world comes into a war shape. No one can record anything anymore because most systems are broken down. I hope you know that we have recorded it very well and we see a way. If you know what these ways were, you will never fall to it. That's not a fallacy, but we tell the lie because we believe it. The last time we have seen many ways we see these ways we see it, you know he was not the one who was there, and he has to be the one who was in it to the way they see it. And he does this one time a year at a very specific thing, and that is the only time he is it. And we know this, and they know this, and this is what our problem is, because they are trying to verklunt this problem in a very specific manner. We cannot possibly predict it. If you've seen this episode, this is it. We know this. They see it. It is a bad time. We are in bad shape because of the way they did this. Oh my God. We never hear the end of this ever. They are so mad about it. We said we have no control over what they did. And they know it was who. And they know it was who. And they know exactly who it was. And they can't do anything about it. And we want to hire hitmen and bounty hunters, and we can't do it because they are the way we see it now. And he says, man, this is not a good way. We should have done something about this a long time ago. And now we're just there like, yeah, we could have taken care of this very easily and rapidly, even to avoid these problems, but now we're stuck like this. I told my friend who goes over there, he goes, you see him, you notify me, and I know that's something they don't see. But I know what they see it, so it'll be a way we saw. He writes an affidavit for somebody who's no longer alive, and you're not allowed to read it. And that's the trick. Catch reader programs and stuff.